Happy Friday, Hammers fans. Welcome to the Daily Show on Claret and Booze. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not Moyes actually wants a striker. I'll explain why. I'm going to be talking about this in just a moment. But first off, if you are new to the channel and you do enjoy the show, once you've watched it, please drop us a like and leave us a comment as well. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe, obviously. Right, before I get started, a few disclaimers. Now, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Sebastian Haller in this video. I know we're all bored of the subject, but I'm going to use him as a reference to try and understand whether or not David Moyes actually wants a striker, or at least a striker in the mould that we're thinking as a fan base. As we all learned today, Dortmund, they're signing Haller as Haaland's replacement, as tweeted by Sky Sports, and they also mentioned that we've got no sell-on clause, so that was all nonsense. Bit of a strange one, that is. Also, look, this is not an attack on Moyes. I'm just trying to analyse what went wrong with Haller in his time with us and try to understand why Moyes had such little urgency or has such little urgency to replace him up to this point. Now, look, I know we're linked with a raft of players, as we always are, but none of us actually know what is and isn't true. I like to think that there's no smoke without fire, and when you look at the volume of players that we're sort of concurrently linked with, it certainly makes me hopeful that there's something in the rumours. So look, anyway, on with the show. First of all, let's discuss strikers in general at West Ham, especially in the Golden Sullivan era. You know, we've had what feels like bloody hundreds come through that revolving striker door, and none of them have seen real success. In fact, look, it almost feels like we've been a bit of a graveyard for strikers in the past decade or so. And also, David Moyes, don't forget, you know, he's proven to himself and the board in the last few seasons that you can achieve relative success without that expensive, highly paid marquee signing leading that line for us. I think this is in part due to the playing style, of Moyes' typical teams and the fact that he doesn't like his forwards to be typical strikers. Everyone's got to muck in and chase back and do the dirty work. You know, there's no room for players that don't pull their weight. And typically, you know, the very top strikers, they're not workhorses. You know, they're specialists in their role, which is, you know, ultimately to score goals. You know, a striker will always be in the right place at the right time when crosses are coming into the box. That's how they get their goals. This means that they can't be busting a gut, chasing the ball back to the left-back position, because they're always going to be out of position. Basically, you know, a good striker, they'll work smarter, not harder. You know, they look for space. And quite often in games, they can go unnoticed until a chance arises, they bang it away, and then everyone's happy. And look, even the very best strikers, they do need support. You know, you've got to have a good supply, and there's got to be good chance creation. And they do need players around them making runs and drawing defenders out of position to open up space for them. Now, not all strikers are the same style, obviously. You know, you can't put them all in the same box. You've got your quick Vardy-style strikers that They'll make runs in behind the defence, and then you've got your typical number 9 that I feel Sebastian Haller is, and kind of aligns to the typical attributes that I've mentioned. Now, Haller was hugely successful before he came to West Ham. He was very successful when he left West Ham and went to Ajax. Yeah, I know it's a Farmers League, I know. Well, the Champions League ain't, is it? And he smashed it in that competition as well, which is how I'm assuming he's got his move to Dortmund now. Now, I'm not suggesting that Haller is on par with Haaland, by the way. That was a headline. But one thing is for certain, Haller is a top striker, and he's going to be. He's one of the top strikers in Europe at the moment. He is. So why was he not successful at West Ham? Well, look, I think it's pretty simple, really. At Frankfurt, pre-West Ham, he played for a fluid and fast-paced counter-attacking team, and they had 3 forwards. Him being the pivot, you know, the tip of the triangle. We all saw the videos. The supporting wide forwards were fast, hard-working, they were tricky, and they did all the running for Haller. He simply won the ball, linked play, because that's something he's really good at. He can pick a pass, and he made the most of the space that his forward partners, who played very close to him, they created for him. Even the best forward players, they do need support. If you took Son away from Kane wouldn't have scored or created half as many goals in the last few years. So what I'm saying is, due to the fact that hardly anyone plays with 2 strikers anymore, these typical types of striker, these old-fashioned number 9s, which Haller kind of is, they need the support from their inside forwards in a modern system, where you're playing that sort of three up front. Well, it should be a three up front. Otherwise, look, they're largely pointless because they don't have the pace and they don't have that dynamism to win the ball on their own, hold it up, get it down, beat players in the way that, say, a converted winger such as Mikel Antonio and before Antonio, Arnie, have got the ability to do. Now, initially, when Haller left Frankfurt to come to West Ham, I thought he started really well. He looked really good, I think most people thought we'd got ourselves a good striker here. Excuse me. But then the wheels fell off the Pellegrini train, didn't they? And we just weren't creating any chances anymore. Our running stats, they were kind of the bottom. We were terrible, and there was no support or creation for the striker at all. So what happens when the team are not playing well? You're losing games, and you've got that big expensive player up top. We as fans, it's natural. We blame him. He's lazy. He's rubbish. Because he looks fed up. He's sulking. Of course he's fed up, He's on a big goal bonus. He wants to score goals and no one's creating chances for him. He's got to be able to adapt. When, look, in fact, the truth is this type of striker is pretty one-dimensional, right? They are. They can only really perform and deliver on what they've been brought in to do if the team is playing well, if they're supporting him, if they're creating chances for him. And if you can tick all those boxes, then the striker will be a success and the team will benefit. But anyway, look, moving on from the Pellegrini era, Moyes came back for his second stint, and he badly needed runners in the team and players that worked bloody hard. He set the team up in a very rigid and disciplined manner. We were solid defensively, weren't we? We played really deep. We held our shape. We had those two shielding central defensive midfielders in Rice and Souček. And the wide forwards, Bowen and Fornals, they were used more as second fullbacks, if anything, as opposed to advanced attackers. And we also saw great success in terms of goal output from the way that we was playing, with our set pieces and that kind of slow and patient build-up play that relied on us getting the ball out of defence quickly to Antonio, he was a one-man wrecking machine. He held the ball up, and he's able to sort of create his own chances, really. We've seen that before, haven't we? He kind of knocks the ball in behind, he'll pick it up, knock a ball in past the fullback, and he'll run in, hold it up, and that allows the likes of Cresswell and Soufal the time to get up the pitch, overlap and put crosses into the box, and that gave that's why we saw great numbers from Souček, because he could get forward and he could get on the end of crosses with those late runs into the box. We simply weren't set up in a way to play to a conventional striker. The striker in our system was just a workhorse at that time. This is when Moyes came in. I'm not saying that. Haller, look, he could never have done the job that Antonio was being asked to do in the first part of that season if he tried. Which, if I am going to be critical of Haller, I don't think he did try at that point. I think it looked like he down tools. His body language weren't great. But look, in his defence, he simply wasn't, and he still isn't that type of player. He is a conventional striker, not a converted winger, whose core skill set and strength is to run an awful lot and take players on. That's not him. He's not a dribbler. That's not his game. And this is not a Haller loving, by the way. I'll get to the point about new strikers shortly. But then January comes and Haller's out the door really quickly. He was hardly being used anyway, so it didn't feel like it really mattered. But I think we all anticipated that we was going to get another player in, a replacement. And in comes Jesse Lingard. Now, all of a sudden, West Ham changed playing style to an almost exact replica of the playing style that Haller was used to at Frankfurt. And that he went on to enjoy at Ajax as well. Now, in retrospect, it was absolutely bizarre because Haller was made for that playing style. No longer will we see him like slow build-up play with balls pumped up to the lone striker to hold up. Now we were breaking with pace, with direct running from deep, with Rice and Lingard driving the ball forward. And our wide forwards, they were getting forward. We was attacking en masse. So look, I know it's futile, but just imagine for a minute. Had we held on to Haller in that window, or got a replacement, you had Lingard in the 10, Bowen and Antonio as the inside forwards, with Haller at the tip of the triangle. A motivated and hungry Haller would have been a revelation in that system. I don't care what anyone says. He would have been fantastic. Whether we could have motivated him at that stage or not, we'll never know. But look, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, do we? There was obviously more to it than meets the eye. We don't know how bad the relationship was between Moyes and Haller, and you could see from his body language that he was done. Plus, although Haller went on and did great things at Ajax. We didn't exactly suffer, did we? You know, we had a fantastic finish to the season ourselves, and we went on the following season. This season just gone, we had another great season. But I'll never stop wondering, though, you know, what could have been had we not just Haller, but as I said, you know, any proper striker playing in that system with a Lingard pulling the strings, you know, could have been a difference between fourth and sixth. You just don't know, do you? Fine margins. And this is probably my fear for strikers in general at West Ham in the future, you know, because if we don't play in a way that gets the best out of them, you can't be 100% sure that they're going to... Look, it's really difficult because if they don't play well, the fan base are going to end up hating them, you know, because ultimately with no support and no service, even the best striker in the world is going to look, well, shit. Even Antonio is a hard-working player, you know, he's getting crap from the fan base because he isn't scoring enough in that position. And he's not even a striker. He's a converted winger. He gets slagged off for not being a natural striker. He's never in the box. He's always out wide. He's always chasing back. But then when he does try to emulate the movements of a striker, and he isn't running around like a headless chicken, he gets called lazy. I mean, you can't win. So anyway, do I believe all of the rumours that are circulating in relation to a striker? Personally, I do, because Moyes must realise that he needs a clinical finisher, which is the one thing that Antonio isn't, and he's never going to be, is he? The question is, what style of striker would Moyes prefer? I mean, for me, based on the way that we've played in the last season, I would say the likes of Broja, who we're linked with, would be an ideal fit, because he is a more dynamic striker that runs a channel, chases back, and he gets stuck in much the same way that Arnie and now Antonio do. He's just got a bit more talent, which allows Moyes to stick to his preferred style. So that's probably utopia for Moyes. The likes of En-Nesyri and Belotti, who we've been linked with as well, they're more conventional types of striker. You know, they're not going to be effective in a typical Moyes system that Haller was having to play in. They would have similar issues. Unless the plan is to change our playing style and get in a Lingard-esque player to drive us from deep and attack en masse as we did before, which I think is a custom-made style for a proper striker. I mean, that would be my preference for sure. So look, in summary, I'm still none the wiser, and neither will you be after watching this video, because nobody knows what Moyes' plans are and what his opinions are on this. You know, we don't know if Moyes regrets selling Haller, whether he feels it was a mistake and he wishes that he'd tried to get the best from the player. We'll never know this. We don't know what happened. But as I said earlier in the video, in the right style, I absolutely believe that we can accommodate a striker and excel as a result. You know, they don't have to be a luxury. You know, if you and strikers, we know that Moyes likes versatility, and we was having a bit of a debate today, and it's like these players have got to adapt, they've got to change. Well, no, they haven't got to change. Moyes has got to buy the player that he needs. Don't buy a player and then try and change them. You know, buy the part for the puzzle that you're trying to finish. That's the thing. So that's I know Moyes likes doing that. But anyway, look, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. You know, do you think Haller, if motivated, do you think he could have been a class act when Lingard came in? You know, he could potentially still be it, couldn't he, if he'd have finished that season strong? You know, and what do you think Moyes is going to do now? Do you think he genuinely wants a striker? I think he does. Well, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please drop us a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And we'll be back this Sunday at 8 PM for the Booze Up, and you'll be pleased to hear that Virgil of the Marshes is also back for that show, and we'll have a guest as well. So enjoy your weekend, people. Come on, you ads.